screen with you. All right. So you can see me. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just going to Google. And when you go to create a classroom, you want to make sure you're signed in. And then you could either go to classroom.google.com or you can go to the waffle and click classroom. Once you're in the classroom, you will see I have a few. You're going to want to go up to the upper right-hand corner and it'll say create or join a class. So when you click that, we're going to create one. But if someone was inviting you to a class and they gave you a code, you would click join class and place the code there. And then you would be a student in that classroom. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to say create class. And we'll call this demo class. You don't have to fill all this stuff in. You can if you want. You can always go back and change the name and then create. Once it's created, there it is. It'll pop up. It gives you a default theme. You can go in and change that by coming over here to select theme. And the choices are not spectacular, but they're okay. You can also put your own image in if you wanted. So let's say I would like that as the theme. Select, and it changes it. Here's where you find the class code. So if you're inviting students or teachers to join as students, you can have them join by this code, or I'll show you in a little bit how you can invite them directly. But this is where you would find that code. Okay, the first thing I'm going to go to is the settings. So in the upper right-hand corner, there's that little wrench. Here's where you can come in, and what I always tell teachers to do is to, where it says stream, students can post and comment. I tell them to switch it to only teachers can post and comment. That is not going to eliminate the ability for students to discuss anything, and I'll show you that in a minute. It just does not allow them to start adding topics to the stream that says, hi everyone, or, you know, those exciting messages they'll post. Here where it says classwork on the stream, I like to turn that to say hide notifications. And what that does basically, and I'll show you in just a second, and I turn Guardian Summaries off. Guardian Summaries, there's a little bit of confusion around what that is. Guardian Summaries allow parents that sign up a weekly email, just summary of what was due, what their student handed in, what they didn't hand it in. It does not give parents the ability to log into the Google Classroom. If they want to see the Google Classroom, they would have to log in through their student's account. Okay, so let me go back to what I was talking about before. Once you've done this, change these settings, you can come up here and click save. Now, when I said I turned off the notifications for the stream can get very annoying. Every time you post an assignment or classwork, if you didn't turn off hide notifications, they would all show up in the stream. So it's just a long list of things that you're posting. I still don't know why they still have it here. Hoping they would move it, and so classwork would be the first one you'd see. But essentially, students are going to go to classwork, and you're going to do most of your work in classwork as a teacher. So as I said at the beginning, you could have shared that code with students to join your classroom, Or if you go to the People tab, you can go in, the code is also here, but you can go in and add students. So you can just start typing their name. So I'm going to say Diane. And then when I click invite, Diane will automatically have this classroom waiting for her when she logs into Google. All she'll have to do is click accept or join. So I'll add one more student so I can show you what it would look like from their end. You'll notice that these are grayed out. That means that they've been invited, but they have not accepted it yet. So from the student perspective, I'll go into Google. I'll sign in as a student, the one I just invited. And then I'll come up to the waffle, find classroom. And you'll see the demo class. I'll click join. And it defaults to the stream, but you're going to want to direct the kids to go to classwork. So now if I go back to my view, sample student is now darkened, which means I've accepted it as the sample student. If I wanted to email this student, you can use the little snowman, the 3 dots, and you have some options. You can email the student. You can email guardians. However, we turned the guardian feature off, and I'll explain that in just a second. You can also invite guardians. The guardian feature, again, does not allow parents to come in. That's why I have it turned off, because once it's turned on, you would have to, as the teacher, manually put in the guardian's emails. You can't just populate them with a CSV file or anything like that. You would have to manually put them in. So I just have been turning them off because, especially for this online learning right now, things are going to look a little different, and they're not necessarily going to want a summary of what we're posting at the end of the week. So that's how you can add students, both through the code and just manually. You can also add co-teachers. Exact same way. However, if you add a co-teacher, you cannot, there's no code for them. You would have to invite them through here. Whereas the students, you can invite here or give them that code for them to join. All right. If anyone who's joined us while I've been talking, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to throw them in the comments, which is in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And then I can check those. Can you turn off comments altogether? Or have them approved? Okay, there's a question that says, can you turn off comments altogether? That was turning off the comments altogether. However, if I go to classwork, I can still create a question, a discussion question, and kids can comment on that. So for example, create is where you're going to add an assignment, quizzes, questions, materials. So if I click the question, put my directions in, I can add anything or attach anything. But over here to the right, I can have the settings for this discussion question. I can say it's graded or not. I can have a due date or not. I can put it under a topic, and topics are a way to organize your class assignments. And I'll show you that in a little bit. But the nice thing here is students can reply to each other. Students can edit answer. So if you don't want them to be able to reply to each other or see that, you're going to turn that off. You can also, and this is good for assignments and assessments, anything you assign through Google Classroom. Right now, this is going to demo class, and this question is going to all students. If I'm teaching more than one class, I can easily click down here and say, you know what, I wanted to go to the demo class, and I also wanted to go to, I'm trying to find one that's not going to bother anybody else, Llewellyn test. So now this assignment, this question is going to both those classes. And if I wanted, I could drill it down to particular students. So if there was just a subset of students I wanted to have that question, I could pick them, but I'm just going to assign it to everybody. Now I can click ask. Once I click ask, it goes live. Students can see it right away. If you come to this little drop down arrow, you can save that question as a draft. And so you'll see it's grayed out. I, as the teacher, can see it, but the student still would not see anything until I go in and actually make it live. So if I wanted to make this live, I'd come back over here to the snowman, click, edit. If everything's the way I want it to be, I'll click ask. Students will see the question in their streams immediately. Ask. So now it's not grayed out anymore, and the student should be able to see it. Test question. So as the student opens it from the student view, they'll view the question, which I didn't really type a question, saying I typed a question. They would come over here and type their answer and then click turn in. It will tell them that once they submit it, they can't make changes because as the teacher, I did not enable that permission. So turn in. Then as the teacher, it shows me that one student turned it in. I open it up and I can see their answer. So going back to topics. Right now, what will happen is every time I create an assignment, a question, a material, it's gonna be added under classwork, but it's just gonna keep going in this long stream unless I create topics. Topic is right here, and it basically is just organizing your assignments. So maybe I have a math topic. Maybe I have a science topic. And so when I go to assign, create an assignment, so let's say here's the assignment, test assignment, instructions. I'm gonna put it in the demo class. Here's where I could choose which students or all students if I wanted to. No due date, topic. I'm gonna put this under science. So when I assign this, it's not just gonna be added to the top. It's gonna go under the topic I chose. So here's science, here's the assignment. If I've assigned something and I forgot to add it to a topic, you can always go back to the snowman, edit, add the topic here. And if it's not a topic you've already created, you can also create a new topic right here. So I'll put this under math, save. There you go. So it's a little more organized, and as a student, they'll know where to go for each. Let me refresh this so you can see. So it organizes theirs as well. Okay. One real important thing that when you are assigning anything, so let's say I'm going to create an assignment again. And I am going to add something from my Google Drive. I could also add a file that's on my computer, a link to a website, a YouTube video. But this time I'm going to assign something from my Google Drive. So let's just see here. It's something fun I have. How about we'll just do this. And then it's a slideshow about Zoom. Now this is the most important part. Before I share this to the class, I have some options. It defaults to students can view file. So that's a read only. They could download it, rename it, and then upload it, but for all intents and purposes, it's read only. If I were to click students can edit file, that means everyone that I'm assigning it to can edit this exact same slideshow. Now, you may think, well, why would you want to do that? That would be total chaos. This is done actually a lot by teachers who will assign each student their own slide. So everyone is working on the same slideshow, but they have their own space, their own slide to work. And then they can go in and see each other's work and leave comments and discussions and feedback to each other. Plus, the teacher only has to go into one slideshow to see everybody's work. The last option is make a copy for each student. So essentially what that will do is it'll take this slideshow and make a copy for every student it goes to, so they will be editing their own slideshow. It renames it with the student's name. So let me just show you, make a copy for each student. No due date, I'll put it under, I don't know, the topic called Trash Me. And assign. So from the student perspective, there's the assignment. When I open this up, you'll notice that it has renamed it sample student with the title of the slideshow. So every student's name will appear before the name of the assignment. And I, as a student, can go in and edit this however I want. And it's only visible, it's only editable by me. Come back here. So we've gone through some of the settings, how to add people, how to get rid of the notifications in Stream, how to create an assignment and post it. One other thing that is useful is reuse post. So if you have several classrooms that you work with, if you have posted something in a classroom before, you can go in and reuse that. So if I click reuse post, it's going to pull up all the classes that I have access to. So let's just, yeah, I have a lot. Let's go with, where is that one? I'll go back here. This has all the posts from the class 2019 Llewellyn. I can go in and I can say, oh, this is the one I wanted to use. Click on it, click reuse. It brings it into my demo class. I could also have it go to other classes that I have access to. And then when I click assign, it's going to go into my demo class, but I did not have to recreate it. All right, I know that was a lot in 20 minutes. Is there any questions you guys have that I can help you with, or?
I don't have a question, Ann, but it was this is Dwight. What you said about the comments was helpful. What I'm curious about with the comments is I'm thinking like that maybe it could happen at any grade level, but thinking like at that secondary level, especially where students may want to say something colorful or funny during class. in a comment, from a comment perspective. And if a teacher has comments on for any given assignment, is there any way for you as a teacher to moderate comments, to approve them first before they're shown? Just comments on.
If you're leaving that option on that students can post and where is it? Only teachers can post and comment. Students can only comment. No, there isn't any moderating. That's why I just turn it off, because you never know what they'll post, or you just get a whole stream of hi, just goofy things. So I always recommend turning it off, and I always recommend hiding the notifications, because when students come in for the first time, for now, hopefully they'll change it eventually, it defaults to the stream. And this can get really cluttered, and they can get confused because assignments will show up here that you've created if you didn't turn the notifications off. So if you turn notifications off, they'll notice there's nothing here for them to really do. They'll be forced to go to the classwork page to actually see the assignments.
Got it. So that's important to know. That's not notifications for me as the teacher. That's really controlling whether or not the assignment shows up in the stream.
Yes.
Got it.
And like I said, the stream is sort of frustrating for me because I don't see a huge purpose for it.
Yeah, I understand. So here's another question. As a teacher, as my students are popping in, doing things, what type of notifications do I get as a teacher? If Zach was a student in the class and he popped in and turned something in, how can I control what I get?
For notification wise, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come over to, I don't know what you call this, let's call it hamburger. And you're gonna go to classes. And this is where you can set up your settings for classes. So actually, no, you scroll all the way down through all your classes, and then there's settings. And this is where you can set up for your notifications. So if you want notifications when people add things, you're going to turn that on, and then you can decide what exactly do you want notifications for. Any comments, if you're enrolled in a class that, work that teachers have posted. So this is good for students. It'll send them an email notification that, hey, your teacher just posted something. This is a really nice one for late submissions of student work. In the past, kids would hand things in, but if it was late, the teacher really didn't know unless they were always checking the Google Classroom, because it will allow students to turn in assignments after the due date. It does notify you and the student that it's being turned in late, but if this is turned on, it'll notify the teacher that, hey, something was just submitted, it's past the due date, but it's here.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? It's pretty, I think it's pretty user friendly. There isn't a whole lot. It's more of just a sort of like a warehouse and a way to disseminate assignments and things and get them back easily. One other nice thing is once you assign something, if you assign it through Google Drive, so let's look here. Test assignment. Was this the one I attached? Nope. All right, let me go back. I'm just going to create one more example. I'm going to make an assignment, and I'm going to actually, let's just say I haven't created it yet. It's not in my Google Drive. So I'm going to make a Google Doc personal narrative. Oops. Personal narrative. Oops, sorry about that. I didn't finish before I hit edit. All right. Personal narrative. So I created the Google Doc that the students will fill out. Right now it says students can view. I'm going to say make a copy for each student again. And this time I'll come in. I only have one student, so sample student is going to get it. I'll put it under the topic of writing. I'll click assign. The nice thing is, once you've assigned something through Google Classroom, the student, when they get it from their end, what did I just name it? Didn't I assign it? There it is. Okay. Once I've opened it, the teacher can now go in and see what I've done up to date. So if I go back to the teacher view, I can go into the personal narrative assignment that I assigned. I can open it up and I can see what that sample student is doing as they're doing it. So here's their work. This is really handy, not just because you can go in and see what they're doing, but you can give them feedback before the due date. So 2 weeks from now, when they hand it in, if they're doing something completely wrong, I can catch it early. So I can highlight this and leave a comment for them. You need more work. And when the student comes back to their document, they will see my feedback. So it's a nice way to keep formatively assessing where kids are, what they're doing, so they don't get too far along doing the incorrect thing.
That's nice.
All right. Well, you guys know how to get a hold of me if you have any questions. But other than that, oh, there's one new thing that we did learn through this last couple of weeks. There is a limit to the number of teachers you can have within a classroom. It is 20. So if you have more than 20 teachers, it will not allow you to add any more. We've never really needed that before this, but if you run into that issue and you need more teachers to have access to the classroom, they can be added as students. As a student, you can see everything that the teacher posts. You just don't have the ability to post things yourselves. So that was one way we worked around it over the last couple weeks, is having teachers put in as students so they could see what their kids were getting that was being posted by other teachers, but they didn't necessarily have editing rights. If sample student is, I'm done, I can come to actions and I can mute them so they're not going to be able to do any conversation, or just remove them completely.
And a quick question about that.
Mm-hmm.
If like I see Diane is listed as a student there. If Diane's a student and you mute her, she would have no way of communicating in the class. Is that that's for the class in general, nothing to do with an assignment or any of that? That's in this classroom as a whole.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Does that mean I can't submit work?
No, you can still submit work. You just can't. Yeah, you can still submit.
Just can't say anything.
Right.
Okay.
Students. What else was there? There's a limit of students to be, you can only have 1,000 per classroom. So we should be. And other than that, that's the basics of just getting one set up and sharing it out and seeing who's in it. Again, if you want to do it by code, that's usually easiest for the older kids or teachers who have, hundreds of kids. If they just share the code, which is located in the stream. or it's also listed under, where else was it? Classwork? No. Oh, under settings. Right here. So you can display it larger, copy it and paste it. Another thing you can do is reset it or disable it. And the reason you may want to do that is if you've made this, say you send it out to all your seniors, they're all in the class. You may want to disable it after that or change it so you don't have juniors coming in and saving all the work for next year. Just a way to measure who's joining and who's not. Okie dokie.
All right.
All right. Well,
Very
thanks for
informative,
coming
Anna. Thank you
in.
very much.
No problem.
Yeah, this was great.
Thanks for coming in. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. But yeah, the thousand students was a new one too. So we worked around that, but we never had more than 1,000 students. So stop recording.